Welcome back to another episode of Trading Secrets. Today I am joined by famous social media personality Amanda Hirsch. Amanda became well known serving as the host of the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast, where she talks about everything pop culture, celebrity gossip, and reality TV recaps while consistently sharing her self-deprecating humor, honesty, and relatability with her listeners. In my conversation with Amanda, we are going to cover all the ins and outs of managing a podcast, social media, all the following that she has, and keeping up with her hourly updates of celebrity gossip. Ironically enough, when she walked in here, we talked about a little Bachelor gossip, maybe a breakup in the news that I would not confirm or deny, or maybe I don't even know. But she knows it all. And on top of that, she also wears the name tag of #1 mom and #1 wife. How does she do it all? We're here to find out. Amanda, thank you so much for being on this episode of Trading Secrets.
Thank you. I love that. #1 mom and #1
wife. Yeah.
I'll make a t-shirt.
Yeah. And then you're going to have to add #1 podcaster on there because you're kicking ass right now.
Oh my God. Thank you. It's a weird thing, podcasting, right? I feel like it's hard to own it. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I'm just talking in a microphone, but it's like a thing. It's a job. You're doing it, but it's hard to for me at least, to really own that. So when people compliment my podcast or listen to it, or it means so much to me because I don't think of it highly enough. Do you know what I mean?
When you say you don't own it, do you not look at podcasting as an occupation, or do you not say you do not put a lot of equity in the fact that you run a show? You're just it's just one thing I do.
Right. And I think that's how I started it. It was if you have a social media page, and that was the next step. That was the obvious next step. And I wasn't a pioneer in the podcast space, which you always wish you were, right? You're always like, ugh, I wish I would have started people are still starting podcasts now.
Oh, yeah.
But I wish I would have started when people weren't even listening to podcasts. But I think it's more started it as the natural transition, and I know it got much better. If I'd listened to first episodes.
Yeah.
But you get better at interviewing, you get better at talking. But I think it's hard for me to accept that it's such a big part of what I do now. And it's not just, I just talk into a microphone once a week, you know?
What's interesting is that you say that, and then here's a little behind the scenes too. So for anyone that doesn't know, Amanda and I are under the same network. It's Dear Media, and they do quarterly updates, quarterly reviews, right? And so obviously, Trading Secrets, I'm a big numbers guy. I want to know all the numbers, right?
Are you okay with the fact that you don't get to see them consistently?
Yeah, I want them tomorrow.
You would want them every day. Yeah, you would want access to them all the time.
Yes.
But you don't get them.
Because I'm the kind of guy, I'm inputs equal output. Output gives me more information, try and do things different. So I asked him the question. I said, okay, give me 3 at the end. We finished the whole review. And I said, I need 3 podcasts right now with Dear Media that I'm not talking about OG did well. I'm talking about they're kicking ass right now. And the reason I'm asking this is because I want to go see what they're doing or have some type of takeaways from how they're doing things. And things are going great, but you could always be better. And so one of the podcasts they said was yours. And I said, okay, tell me, what is Amanda doing? What do you think it is? And she's they're you know what? It's actually hard to peg that down because she's so kind of off the cuff. She's just she has an idea, she goes. It's not this crazy planning session,
right?
Or put this into it. You just stay on top of things, and you just pump it out, is what they say. So it's interesting that you also are I don't even put that much value in it when maybe it's because you're just this, your podcast is who you are, and what you do is just what you think, and it's not this for me a business plan of drawing it out.
Right. And I think I like that. And I think that a lot of my life is balancing that out. The fact that I do things on a whim, they're usually impetuous, they're usually not that well thought out. And there's so many things that in retrospect, I'm I should have put more effort into that. Because not everything will work out in life if you're not going to give 100%. But for me, sometimes they do.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's you lean on that, but sometimes you're no, it could be better. But here's my thing with the podcast. I'm not about I wanted you on my podcast because I know you. I watch The Bachelor. It was interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I know your life. I know your dogs. I'm not going to have on like a pitch that I get, you know, to have a guest for next week.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean?
You're going to do it the way like your brain sees it.
Yeah. Even if it's somebody known and they're like, Amanda, this person has 8 million followers and everyone, I'm like, I don't know this person.
Yeah. So I'm not
going to do it. So I think I'm very specific about the things that I do. And no, that means a lot. It's still, I think, because I'm like the opposite of an overnight TikTok sensation where they get like, you know, 50 million followers a day. So I've been actually in this game for like 6 years. So Instagram is like my home, even though it's such an annoying app sometimes. I'm like, this is where I chose to be.
I know.
Glitches every day.
AI changes by the
shadow
second.
bans and weird shit. I think it's just hard for me to accept that like podcast that I started, it was later in the game, is like such a huge part of what I do now. And it's hard for me to also accept that I can like, that some people say I do it well. And it's just a weird thing. The whole thing is weird, but I think it took me like 5 years to like own the Instagram thing. So I think the podcast, it'll take me like another year to be like, wait, I'm a podcaster? What the fuck is that?
It'll click. It's going to click.
Okay.
I want to get into your podcast.
Yeah.
I want to get into your social media. We're going to do all that, but I got to address the elephant in the room here. We know what the elephant in the room is. Do you know what it is?
The Ugly Studio?
No.
Oh.
Come on, dear media.
Come on. Step it up. We want windows. We want a view. Yeah.
Give us something here, like a Statue of Liberty from a distance.
A glass window.
All right, the elephant in the room is
Yeah.
you said that sometimes you wish you had prepared more. You said sometimes you just go off the cuff. You landed Kim and Khloe Kardashian as guests.
Right.
So I think as I'm preparing for this interview, I'm like, there's got to be takeaways from the way that she got in with Kim and Khloe Kardashian to the fact that they would sit one-on-one with her for hours extensively and explain everything. There's got to be something that like anyone can take away, like even a salesperson in Pennsylvania or someone trying to find their next job in New York. So tell me how did you get Kim Kardashian and Khloe Kardashian on your podcast live?
Okay. First of all, when you said that, like made me, you're making me like step back for a moment and like realize these things. I think, here's what I'll say. Like today, for instance, I was listening to the song First Class by Jack Harlow. Mm-hmm. And I put up, I'm like, you guys, you know that this is Jack Harlow? And they're like, literally, are you joking? Like you're supposed to be a pop culture person and here you are, you don't know basic shit. And that's the thing. Like I'll always say my page isn't TMZ, it's not Page 6. I'm not coming with the scoops. I'm not the paparazzi outside of the place. Okay. I really like pop culture and I really like sharing my opinions on it, commenting on it in a specific way that I do that I guess people relate to. And that's always really important to me. Like, do you remember the Hilaria Baldwin thing with the Spanish thing?
Yes, of course.
So with that even, I remember it was quarantine. It was such a major thing because it was boring and this was happening. Yeah. And I was so into it. And I would like post the different things. But I always said to you guys, I'm not finding this. I don't do deep dives. I'm just seeing these things. I want to share them with you. And the New York Times called me to interview me for the piece that they actually got her, like they got an interview with her and they wanted me as well. And I remember even told the reporter, like, I need you to know, I'm not taking credit for these deep dives.
Sure.
But I think at the end of the day, my genuine passion for this shit and my, you know, how people see that I'll be in the middle of like, you know, holding Noah, my son, on my shoulder and washing a dish, but being like, you guys, Courtney cut her hair, you know, and they just see that I genuinely care about what I do. So just that in general. And I think with the Kardashians, it's really something that happened. And I even ask myself, Jason, like, if I had to know the formula to get them to like me in the way that they do, I wouldn't know how to do it. Like, how did I do it? And I look back and I'm like, I think I have a certain chutzpah, maybe because I'm half Israeli, that like other people maybe don't have, in a way that I'm not mean and I'm not, you know, I'm like snarky, but not mean. And like, I think there's some sort of formula that I can't pinpoint that worked. But what I think happened was like, I started noticing that their friends kind of follow me and want to interact with me. And
who were some of their first friends that followed you?
like Steph Shep, who was Kim's assistant, and now she's like a whole entrepreneur on her own, which is you should have her on. It's wild for, to watch it from the side. Like literally her assistant, who is now like on their level,
is crushing.
Like mansion, living the life, and their friend, but she was her assistant, legit booking her flights, whatever.
Gotcha.
So I remember Steph Shep, and I remember Steph Shep once DM'd me like, "Oh my God, we love your account." And I remember I was like at home and I was like, we.
Yeah, I heard we.
And I like told my sister, I was like, we. Who's that? Her and her boyfriend?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
we. It's
Yeah.
we. And then like more, but I think it was like this formula that worked that was like, I'm not up their asshole, but I'm not mean. And could be a dumb bitch, but I'm kind of smart. And I have a family, so I'm not some like loser from the street. And I'm like a fan, but they could probably see as a friend. I think it was just all these things. That's what I'm saying, Jason. Like I wish if I look back and be like, how do I get them to like be on my radar? I never tagged them. I never wanted, how accounts will like tag people so they'll see. I never was doing that. And
Were you DMing them at all?
Well, we started being more in contact. Yeah.
Are you trying to tell me they asked you to come on your pod?
100% they asked to come on my podcast.
Stop.
Yeah.
Kim and Khloe came to you and asked you
Well, I'll
to
tell you
come on
exactly
the
what
podcast.
happened. Well, first of all, okay, so never DM them in my life, right?
Okay.
And then because it's like one of those things where like, what am I going to DM the air? Like
Sure,
they're not going to
yeah,
answer
good luck.
me.
Yeah.
And then Courtney was my fave. Who's your fave? Like looks-wise even.
Okay, this is how bad I am with pop culture.
Yeah, I know. I could
Who is
assume.
the youngest one?
No, you probably mean Kendall. You like the model.
The model.
Oh,
The model.
Jason, you're so fucking obvious. Fine. You like the model. Oh.
Shocker.
Who's the model one?
Give it away. Tall,
Okay.
dark hair.
What? Caitlyn doesn't teach you things?
What do you mean?
Like you don't know pop culture? She knows.
I'm bad. She makes fun of me for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I never responded to their stories because like, again, and then the only time I did was when I saw Courtney went on Addison Rae's podcast.
Okay.
You know who Addison Rae is?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's a big
And
TikToker.
You probably didn't know she had a podcast.
I did not know she had a podcast.
because I don't know even if it
I know
still
more about
exists.
brand deals she's done.
Yeah. Literally, her team just throwing darts
she's
at
done
every.
a lot
No, but
of
don't you
brand
think that's like not the brand, the like fragrance, makeup? It's like they wanted to nail all just options of things she could do, and it's just I don't think it's going well.
I've talked to a couple chief marketing officers who have done the deals directly with her. And I will say the feedback about performance was not good.
Yeah, I heard that too.
So I think when you spread yourself too thin, you start to lose engagement, you start to lose clicks. We also just had Jill Zarin on from Housewives of New York. Jesus, Jason. And they have a line, and they give out free product, hoping they'll post. But when they post, they'll track it. And D'Amelio performed worse than a lot of people from The Bachelor when it comes to clicks and buys. Isn't that crazy?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
I have kind of the volume, though. Okay, but let's go.
The volume, but it's like, they need to believe you.
They need to believe you.
So never DM them. And then when I saw Courtney was like on Addison's Rae's podcast, I remember being like, fuck that shit. She should be on my podcast. So that was the only story I ever responded to. I responded to Courtney. This was, I can look it up, maybe like 6 months ago.
Okay.
Or maybe more, maybe a year ago. And so I responded without even thinking, like, I was just like, you need to be on my podcast. And all of a sudden I see a response. And she's like, oh my God, like, should I? And I was like, ah. And I was in the middle.
When was this? Like recently?
No, I said like a year ago.
Does she follow you?
So no.
So how did she see the DM?
So it's a good question. I think she was like watching my story. I think at that point I noticed that she was watching my stories and watching my stories.
Okay.
That might have been the time.
Okay.
She could have put me in the primary box. You never know.
Damn.
Like preemptively.
Wow.
So she
In
responded.
the recap, I'll explain the primary, general, and all box. Just wait for the recap, but keep going.
Have you explained it before?
No.
Okay. So if you're getting people's primary box, like that's the shit.
Not a big deal.
So she answered me. It was wild. And she was like, should I? And I remember I was in the middle of recording a podcast with Jackie Schimmel. She was on our network too. And I was like, wait, Jackie, I need to tell you what just happened. And because I already read it, and Courtney probably saw a scene, I was like, oh my God, I need to answer. You can't leave her unseen.
Can't leave her hanging.
So Jackie helped me formulate a response that was probably in retrospect not me, because if someone else is like helping you, it said like fuck and queen and like all these things. But I think I was just like, it would be so cool. I'd be fucking honored. Like, you're a queen. And she was like, it would be so fun. Like, yeah, I like, oh, and I was like, because I love you so much. She's like, I love you too. I feel like we're best friends. And then I like fainted. I was like, she feels like we're best. So that's when I realized, I was like, wait, they're watching. They know. And then like, I don't know how long it was after, but I kept on seeing Courtney watch my stories. Of course, in my mind, I'm like, can you just follow? But I never expect too much. It's like, I don't expect anything.
But Courtney didn't come on.
Right. Then, like a month later, Kim starts following me.
Wow. That's pretty wild.
Wild. I was like, this has to be like, does she know? Like, why? I'm like, she could just like not follow me and watch her. But she followed. I died in the street. Like, I remember I found out I was like going to faint. And I remember for the first few days, Jason, for the first few days, I was like, this is a mistake. Like, I was like, she's going to realize what she did and like unfollow. She's going to want to keep her, count low. She's following like 150 people.
Jeez.
So it was a really huge deal. And when you watch you see your own stories, and you'll see, obviously we can't like go through and all the people, but you'll see like
the 3 little bubbles or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So you'll see like one of the
I'll
bubbles.
cover that in the recap too. Okay. 3 bubbles.
And so one of the bubbles is her face, and it always like, still to this day, I'm like, there she is, like your mom watching,
Yeah.
But ever since then, like, yeah, if I respond to Kim's story, she'll respond. If I respond to Courtney's, she'll respond. Sometimes Kim, the other week, oh my God, I'll give some tea here. The other week I posted, there was a photo that Kim put up. This is breaking news, you guys.
Breaking news. Dun-dun-dun.
There's a photo of
It's ESPN, by the way.
Wait, are you putting a soundtrack?
No.
Oh. Okay, so she put up this photo. Look.
Okay. Got it.
It's real.
Okay.
You guys with the mask. And I was like, this isn't Kim. And I like zoomed in. It was like I was like, this isn't her. So like she responded to that and I was like, that is me, LOL. And I was like, oh my God, it doesn't look like you. So yeah, I'm like.
How you guys talk to each other? Is that your Kim voice? Poor Kim.
So yeah, so now we're cool. But the podcast thing was also literally, Jason, swear in my life, we'll show you the email in February. I was at the nail salon. I was about to leave to Israel to go on a trip. And I get through my website, like a submission from Hulu, like the Kardashians is coming to Hulu. Would Amanda be interested in interviewing Kim Kardashian on their podcast?
We're going to need a clip of that because we're going to use it in the clip to tease this. So you're telling me they contacted you through your website, through Hulu. Through
Hulu contacted me through the fucking website. I don't even remember I have like a contact box. And so my first thought in the nail salon was like, what kind of mean troll is messing with me,
shattering my dreams?
Right, would like do something fucked up like this, like tell me to fuck off, tell me I'm whatever, but don't fucking make me think that a dream is coming true. And then I like LinkedIn'd the woman, saw that she was for real, responded right away. Which, by the way, like, she thought she wasn't writing to me, that she was writing to my team. And I'll just say, like, I like to be on top of my shit. So even though I do have a team, like my email is on it. Like I need to get the first email. I don't want to not know what's going on. So everything goes to me. And I even thought like, people would think it would be cooler for me to like immediately forward that email, have my team be like, Amanda would you know what I mean? But no, I'll give the respect. I'll be like, are you shitting me? Like I responded as me being like, of course. I was like, I think I even made a joke, which she didn't. I was like, let me think about it. Just kidding. Like, it's like, of course I'd where I'm coming. And it ended. I kept on thinking it's not going to happen. Even though we were organizing it, scheduling, I kept on thinking like, it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it happened.
When they reached out, did they reach out for both of them or just Kim?
No, it was Kim. And then so what happened was, I'm sure we'll get into stuff, but what happened was Kim's went so well, like knock on wood, the response was so positive, which I'm so happy about because as an interviewer, like I'm not trying to get the dirt, the filth.
Yeah.
Like I want the interview to be good and I want the interviewee to be happy and feel good about it. So she felt good, her team felt good, the public,
Breaking news.
breaking news.
Man, what do you
Take
got,
your Zoloft. Everyone felt really good about it, so I was really happy. And I was texting with her like publicist or Tracy Ramelis, who manages her whole life basically. And she was like, yeah, oh my God, amazing. And she was like, so when Khloe? And I was like, haha. She's like, no, for real, when? Can you do May 13th? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I had just gotten back to New York, and it was like April 20th. And I was like, oh my God, I guess May 13th. And we scheduled it, and I went back.
All right, how nervous were you when you were interviewing them? And what was your prep like?
Okay, you're not going to believe me when I'm going to say that I wasn't nervous.
At all?
Here's the thing. I would be much more nervous interviewing somebody that I don't know anything about. And that's why I don't like doing that, because I can't fake it.
Got it.
I know everything about them. You could put me in a room and like I'd literally want to know, everything.
Like
so
your curiosities are so high with them, you could have talked to her for 3 days.
Right. Well, I could talk to a lot of people for 3 days, but I think that I wasn't nervous because I knew that they liked me already. I knew that they trusted me, and I know that I have so much to ask them. And you feel it's like those moments. It's kind of like a inner self-talk, motivate. Like it's just something that in those moments where I have to show up, I show up like physically, but also in my mind, I'm like, I got this. Like I'm here for a reason, you know?
Right. So what's your tip? Someone hears this right now and they're thinking, I would shit my pants if I had to interview Kim Kardashian or Khloe. What is your tip to that person who in those situations gets extremely nervous? How do they prepare? What advice can you give them if it's an interview, it's asking for a raise, whatever scenario it is, what advice do you have being at that stage?
Well, I think the preparation is key. Like knowing you're prepared. Like I said, I know that I could ask them shit for 3 days, but I was also prepared. I had a list of questions. I had cue cards, which I don't usually do. Like all these extra steps for a cushion. You know what I mean? So like have a cushion.
Insurance
but also, like I said, know that you're good.
Yeah. So
I think my confidence in myself, but also be delusional.
Yeah.
Delusions of grandeur. People
like
look at it as a bad thing, but I think it really got me to where I am in my life. And if you would see me at, 17 being like submitting headshots to modeling agencies, you would be like, I don't know if it was modeling, but you get my point. It's like you have to be like a little bit delusional to think that you're able to do big things. Because my sister, I brought her with me to Kim, and she was so excited and so cute. And we went to the bathroom at her offices where it was shot. And my sister was like, Amanda, like, do you believe that we're here? And I'm like, Ariel, stop.
Cut that shit.
Exactly.
Do that
so
after.
That's not the vibe, right? The vibe isn't like freaking
fangirl. Do not fangirl.
Do not fangirl, but not even to them, but also to you. Like you need to go in
the same level.
And especially with an interview, and I even give this advice, like my sister and friends with interviews. It's like, this isn't a one-way thing. Like, they need you, you need them. Like, you're not like a piece of shit on the floor that they're doing a favor to. Like, you're coming in as someone who can help this brand company. So that's another thing.
That's a good perspective.
Yeah.
When you had all your questions prepared for Kim and Khloe Kardashian, do you have to go through a pretty rigorous process to get those questions approved?
So what's so wild is no. Like people really thought, I think people thought, the questions would be fed to me or like I wrote all my questions. They wanted them before to like make sure they were cool, but they were maybe like one question they took off from each interview and they were like, not even juicy, just like, nah.
Just like, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I had A-Rod on and I was in person, and when we sat down, right as we sat down, he got up and he said, let me talk to you. And he brings me to the side, and I'm not going to repeat them out of respect for him, but there were two things I was not allowed to talk about, and I didn't know if that was the case.
One is J-Lo, thank you.
I mean, you can make those assumptions.
I know.
Go for it. But there were two, so there wasn't anything like that with Kim and Khloe.
Did you ask A-Rod about the mirror pic where he kisses himself?
I asked him a little bit about like narcissism.
Oh, okay.
He talked about it.
Okay. I love that picture.
He did say, like, there are times in my life I look back at the shit I did, and it was like the cringiest things ever.
Yeah.
But because I live the way I do, kind of what you said, like I lived in this world of delusion. I lived in this world like I'm untouchable. I learned more than what most people learn in a lifetime. That was kind of his takeaway.
Yeah.
Like, so you have to live that way to learn more, to be better. But I mean, you know.
Well, it's like
that's
fake
just
it
the
till you
nature.
make it. It's like all these things that are like, you gotta just believe in yourself in those moments and believe that you're there to do something that people want you to do it. People think that you could do it, so you could probably do it. And if not, then what's the worst that could happen? I won't air it.
Yeah.
I always have that in the back of my mind.
Exactly. This isn't live.
If I pass out in the middle, I'm so nervous, then it won't.
Then you won't.
I'll be fine.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
You're not live on air.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk a little bit
Also,
about.
this isn't brain surgery, people. You know what I
that's
mean?
true. It's conversation.
Yeah.
It's conversation with someone that you've literally stalked their entire life. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I totally emphasize that for fun. All right, let's talk about this. Let's get into some numbers here. You're preparing for Kim. You're preparing for Khloe.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you are doing behind the scenes to increase the monetization of this? Are you calling brands, I'm going to be down? Are you thinking about what you're wearing? Is Dear Media pitching you in a different way? Like, this is a huge opportunity to make more money.
Right. First of all, I have to tell you and be honest, Jason, when I started making money from this business, realized how not greedy I am.
Okay.
Because I don't care that much. Like, obviously, it's fun to be making money and especially doing what you love. But I'm so like, the numbers mean so much less to me than the accomplishments and the things that I get to do that are fun for me. But okay, so what happened with each episode? No. So each episode, instead of having like the usual ads that we have, were sponsored by a sole sponsor. So like Shopify did both of mine. And it was important to me, by the way, and this just shows like I am very specific about things. I wanted there was another brand that wanted to sponsor it, and I said no because it wasn't like a cool brand. And I was like, this is a Kim fucking Kardashian episode. Like, I want the brand to at least be
badass.
Everyone knows Shopify, knows what Shopify is.
Awesome.
Yeah. I didn't want it to be like a, probiotic company nobody's heard of.
Teeth
Like,
whitener.
yeah, like
that.
no.
Yeah.
Have it be like a cool brand. So it was important to me for that to happen. And they were the sole sponsor, and obviously it's a lot more money than our usual ads, which is something I didn't think even about going into it. Like that, this episode will actually make a lot of money. But luckily so, because then I had to pay for my travel, and I took a stylist, and I took hair, and I took makeup. So all of that in my mind.
All out of pocket.
All out of pocket.
How
Who's
much
paying
did that
for
all
it, babe?
cost you?
So I flew out with my family because I was going to go for a week, because it ended up being that the week I had Kim, I also was hired by Hulu to do the red carpet for the Kardashians.
To do the interview.
Right.
You're going to be like the next assistant. You're going to be like part of their damn team here.
I don't know. It was a very Kardashian heavy week. It's not my life, but it was that week that I was supposed to do the interview on Friday. And on the Wednesday, my agent called me, and she was like, that the Kardashian premiere is on Thursday. And I was like, yeah, why am I not invited? She's like, you're hosting it. I was like,
excuse me?
Okay. So they paid very, very well. So it was like, knowing that I'm getting that money plus the money from the episode, I was like, I don't give a fuck like how much the flights cost, the stylist. This is a once in a lifetime thing.
Because Amanda is not the biggest numbers person.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot of ice skating around, okay? Did you make more, do you think, on the podcast or hosting the Hulu?
Hosting the Hulu.
Okay. And then how about this as a multiplier? If one episode you make X amount of dollars, how much more are you making on like a Kim episode? Like 2 times what a normal podcast, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times?
Okay. I would say 5 times.
5 times. I mean, that makes sense to get a guest like that. I mean, that is huge.
Yeah.
And when because you had an unbelievable set, does Dear Media cover that? You didn't have to cover that out of pocket.
Well, we did it at her office, and Dear Media brought all that equipment.
Okay.
All that equipment, and it looks really good. Dear Media gets 30%, as I'm sure your listeners know.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know if that's consistent with every single podcast.
Oh, really?
I don't know if like every podcast is a 70-30 split.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not.
I think maybe like the fees change or something.
Yeah.
But no, it was a great setup. But yeah, I even asked them at the beginning. I was like, "Are you gonna pay for like anything? Because it's a big deal for you too, bitches."
It's huge. Dear Media's all over.
Yeah. So no, it's not part of the deal, which I do understand. Because at the end of the day, like, we're both making money from this episode. So it's like, okay, use the money you're making from the episode. But it was a lot because I flew with my whole family. So that's like, what,
That's a few thousand
bucks for the flight and the hotel. We took like an apartment. So, but the thing is with these things, Jason, is like the money sometimes is so crazy, right? And like not real life that like, I'll tell my mom, I'm like, oh, the stylist cost, I don't remember, like $2,500.
Sure.
My mom's like, what, you can, and I was like, yeah, but the amount that I'm making is like not a normal amount. So like, it's not like my mom spending $2,500. It's like things that you make in this world sometimes are not proportionate to fucking anything.
Right.
Like,
so if you make, like your point is if you're making on like one deal $25K and the cost of that are $2,500, your profitability is still of that deal $22,500.
Right.
Which is a high margin like based on what you're spending.
Right.
So I totally get that. That's wild. Who is the next dream guest you're gonna land? You're going to have them all the Kardashians?
Well, I want to have like other guests. It's really fun for me. I think that I love talking to other podcasters and I love doing my regular podcast, but I think there's something about these huge name guests that like are a different ball game. They get you even more excited.
Sure.
And obviously they have so much more reach. And so it's nice to be able to do those. I mean, that I've gotten to do. So now, obviously, like I have a dream list that I would want.
Top 3 from your dream list.
Hailey Bieber.
Okay. Put it out there. Dream big.
Put it out there. Amy Schumer.
Okay. I feel like that's attainable.
I feel like that's attainable. I actually talked to her team.
Yeah. I think that's attainable.
Yeah. Even though, like, I never know if I've talked shit. You have to backtrack.
I feel like Amy might appreciate that. Who's number 3?
Britney Spears.
That would be iconic. She has I think a Broadway show coming out, actually.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I think she might have a Broadway show coming out.
Do you have insider tea?
Was I not supposed to say that?
Oh my God, I don't know, but I love that you like have weird insider tea.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, I just think, and the thing is, this world is so connected. So like, I do know somebody that knows her like manager really well. Not that means anything, but like things could happen. Just with how crazy this world is. But I mean, it's yeah. I mean, you got to try.
Yeah.
Got to be a little delusional. Okay. You know what I mean?
Those are the 3. Those are the top 3. You've already nailed 2 big ones. That's huge for the business. Let's talk about your business a little bit.
Okay.
So someone says to you, Amanda, what do you do? How do you make money? What's your response?
Can you make one up for me? Because I don't know what to say.
What do you? I can.
I don't know what to say.
So what's that like? You're at a happy hour. You're at a wedding.
I know.
Amanda, how are you making money?
Like I start itching. I'm like have an Instagram account. Like Jason, I have an issue. Like I feel so weird about it.
Do you struggle with not having that identity, or do you not care?
No, I don't struggle. I don't care. I just would like a name for it, please. Okay. Like, I'm not going to be like, I'm an entrepreneur. And I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to say that I'm like.
You hate saying you're a podcaster. You hate saying you're an entrepreneur.
Influencer, kill me. Stab me in the throat.
Money, which is wild. Like, okay, I got to ask. Do you come from a bunch of money?
No, I come from not money. I come from a struggling single mom.
Does your partner crush it? Like,
No, well, I'm crushing it right now, babe.
I know you're crushing it, but,
Yeah.
but you don't care at all.
But I don't
How are
care.
you not motivated at all by the dollar, like paying it that like?
But I
into
think
that?
that's what's like beautiful about
It
it.
is beautiful, but I'm so intrigued. I want that.
I
Give
know,
me
you're such a
one
greedy
fucking
fucker.
I'm such a piece of shit. Give me a little
such a greedy
spoon,
fucker.
like a little dash.
But
of
okay,
like
but
that.
here's the
why are you
dash,
not-
Jason. Are you enjoying what you're doing?
I love it.
Would you maybe do this podcast even if you weren't paid for it?
100%.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, for 10 years of my life, I was doing all the other things,
Right.
chasing the titles, I got lost in the suit, all that. I
Right.
was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. Dealing with tons of mental issues because of it. I mean, it was awful. So I love that you did
Yeah.
that. It's one thing I encourage everyone to do. One thing I didn't do for 10 plus years, but still in my life, I'm still watching like even the quarterly reviews, like how do we be better, all that stuff. I love your attitude of just like, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. I'm like that, but I'm like that. I'm like I have an audition, so I'm like whatever it's supposed to be will be. I really believe in that. And I also believe like I have a college education. I have a resume that's probably not good right now, but I'm always like, if I, all this ends tomorrow.
Your resume is unbelievable. See, this is what's unbelievable.
Right.
Your
I
resume
would be able
is
to put it on.
unbelievable.
Okay.
You self-sourced the most influential human walking the planet.
Oh, right.
You
Oh, I can
sourced her
update
for
my
an
resume.
hour. If you could
But like,
do
would
that,
you go
could
with
do
that to a
anything.
company? Like,
Hell fucking
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Like if they'd be like, wait, this individual started something, created something, then self-sourced the person that no one
See,
can literally
I,
have a
like, don't get
conversation
it.
with. That
Yeah.
skill set. That's why I've been talking about it for 45 minutes, because the skill set to do that is remarkable. It's unbelievable. No one could do that. I could hire right now 40 people and pay them a good amount of money for them to get me an interview with Kim Kardashian. They could work 40 hours a week, each of them, and they wouldn't get it done in probably 3 to 6 months, maybe more, maybe if ever. And you did it yourself.
I did it myself.
It's wild.
Oh my God. Marry me, Jason. I need this all day. Damn. But do you think it's like, do you ever explain things like some of it is luck, right? There's
Sure.
always like a little.
Yeah.
Some of it is just like, it's the way like skin products are sold, right? It's like, at the end of the day, this isn't going to cure your skin.
Sure.
Right? Like if you buy Hailey Bieber's new line Road that came out today, you're not going to tomorrow wake up and look like Hailey Bieber, right? Like you might be a little dewy after you put it on. It might help it might, I really think that a lot of things are just who you are, what you were born with. I think, but yeah, the money thing, it's like, it's a problem. Like my husband now, when he asks me how much things are, I'm like, I don't want to tell him. I'm like, why do you need to know? Like, why do you care?
What do you mean? Give me an example. Like the stylist, or what do you mean?
No, the stylist
How much what
was
is?
also a conversation. Like, he cares more than me. He's like, how much is it? I'm like, excuse me?
Give me an example.
I'm giving you the stylist.
Oh, how much
No.
the stylist
Yeah,
was.
but with the
Oh,
stylist,
I
like
see.
I told him. But even, what did I just buy that was like, I bought a nightstand.
How much was the nightstand?
So the nightstand was $400.
Okay.
And my husband was like, how much was it? And I was literally like, why does it matter? And he was like, because I just want to know how much it was. And I was like, I don't get why it matters to you. And he was like, how much? Like, I wouldn't tell him because why does it matter to you?
Interesting.
Like, why do you need to know how much it costs?
All right, so we came in here before we started recording, and man, sat
Just
down.
because it annoys me that he's still like, to me, if I have money, then I'm not cheap. And it feels like when I was poor in my life, I'd be cheap about, I'd go out to dinner with friends and be like,
Sure.
wait, are we splitting the bill? Like how much? Oh, she drank more than me, right? But I always hope that when I encounter a cheap person, it's because they're struggling
it's
right
their
now.
affordability.
Yeah,
So
it's their
you're-
affordability. And
you're-
my thing is like, if I have money, then I don't care about the money. If I don't, then I'll care.
So you live under the basic principle of make money, but just spend less than you're making and you're good.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. But you came in, so a little background, a little behind the scenes. Amanda comes in, she goes, one thing I'm not talking about, I'm not telling you how much I make. Do you tell your,
I'm
does
scared
your
of the trolls.
husband know how much you make?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
He's
you have those open conversations.
Oh, yeah. No, we have a joint account. Like,
Okay.
we have a joint account. But
Because you'd be so shocked at how many relationships are like,
I know.
no idea. We don't
Really?
don't care, don't want to know, don't have the conversation, afraid to have the conversation. Like the whole love and money thing is a wild. That's
I
a
know.
whole
It's a
different.
whole-
That's a whole different animal. I think that's
Yeah.
going to be book 2.
Well, we have our only account is joint, so I don't even know if that's like smart. I don't know if that's what I would advise for people to do, but that's how we've been. We've been together for like over 10 years, so
I love it.
we have an account together, and he's on it. Like he actually, so I don't even know when money comes in. He'll screenshot like that money came in, and I'll add it to my Excel.
Okay. So you're looking at your...
He's on top of it.
He's on top of it all. You're looking at Amanda's Excel file.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not even asking for dollars because I'm being respectful. But
You know what? When Caitlin Bristow comes on and gives you the dollars, I will.
Caitlin Bristow won't come on.
Okay, so I'm telling
I've
you when.
tried forever.
So I know. So when Caitlin Bristow comes on and
You'll come give me the dollars?
yeah.
There, you heard it right
You
there.
heard it.
Lock it in, signed, sealed, delivered. I got to break down Bristow, and then I'll get Hirsch. But when you look at, and this is more of like a very, very answerable question, where money comes in though, so obviously you have podcast revenue that comes in, right? Where else for the things that you do, hosting, we already acknowledge that, you got you'll have these hosting one-offs.
Yeah.
Where else does like your business monetize?
Well, Instagram.
And do you do like from
lot,
one-off partnerships and stuff?
Yeah, I wish I would do less. It's like those things that I'm trying to be more on top of it now. Because I really do believe that like bigger deals that are longer lasting with brands that I love. Like, first of all, I'll never say yes to a brand if I didn't try it before, which you guys would be shocked how many like emails you get. It's like, oh, do you want to do? I'm like, let me try it. Let me try to see if I like it before.
I would say, this is an assumption, it's not a fact. I'd say 9 out of 10 deals that you see from influencers pitching, I would make the estimation 9 to 10 did not try the product. Yeah.
People are shocked. My agents actually told me, like, when I asked them, I was like, is this annoying to you that I keep asking you to, and because I'm always scared to annoy people, which isn't a good thing, by the way. Don't learn from me. It's not annoying. Be assertive. So they're like, no, they're like, it's totally awesome that you do that. Like, people don't do that. So for me, it's like really important because imagine you're doing a deal with, a soda company. You haven't tried the soda.
Sure.
You get the soda.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
It's gross.
What are you going to do? You're going to fucking lie?
Yeah.
So, or you're going to do a teeth thing and it actually hurt your teeth. Like, I'm not doing that. So I once had a brand reach out to me to do a thing. I asked for the product. I'm trying it at home, and it gave me it was like a blackhead remover, and literally like suctioned off my, like I had like marks, and I sent it to my agents, and I'm like, we can't do this. Happened to me with I'll always try, and sometimes I'll try again to be like, really, we can't do this. Like, it's really a shitty product. So I'll always try it before, but it's so much more fun when you love it, would use it anyway. Like, that's the real go. So I have long-term partnerships, which is always fun. And also a lot of one-offs.
Gotcha.
A lot. Like, it's almost, there are months where it's been like every day.
Well, how many deals in a month do you think you do?
Like over 15.
Over 15.
But I'll tell you what, I literally told my agents in an email this week, like for me to be more organized, can we top it at 10? So then at least it's not even every other day.
Wow.
But I'll tell you what the thing is with me and why it kind of worked. A lot of my followers would be like, no, it's annoying. Is that I have like 1,000 stories a day. So the 3 stories of an ad are like
it's like
nothing.
A commercial on a TV show.
Exactly. It's not like a lot of influencers, like they'll post like their outfit tonight, but they have like 1 story. Like my stories are like, so it would feel a lot for them if just every day was an ad.
Correct. Like,
for
that's
me, it's
something
like,
I gotta be like, I'll do stories once every like 2-3 days. When I do them, I'll tell the full story of the day, like maybe 12 slides. But my output of slides is probably 1/20th of what your output is.
Right.
Who's doing all your slides and your content? Do you have a team doing it, or you put out every single slide is coming from you?
I don't have a nanny. I don't have an assistant. I don't have anything.
And every post comes from you?
Everything. I have no help in my life. No help. Even my agents, like, they were like, at the beginning helping a little bit with my scheduling, and then they were like, that's not really our job. And they wanted me to get a manager, but I was like, I don't think I need a manager yet.
What's your screen time?
You know how like bachelor people have like 2 assistants each?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, Demi, not Lovato, what are you doing?
Wait.
What are you doing that you need 2?
That you need
2. I don't fucking have 1, and I have a child.
You put more output of content in 1 week than all Bachelor Nation combined puts in a week.
Probably.
And you are doing it all solo dolo. That is unbelievable.
I even hate the word content. I didn't want to say it, but I knew you, because like I've already said I hated so many things, but I don't even like calling it a content creator.
Hates this podcast. Content influencer money. Oh.
All that. Because I really feel like what I do is just, I'm just being me. I'm just like my life. I'm not creating, people like, I'm just like, I have influencers would be like, oh, I have to create content. Like, oh, you're going to like put rice and fucking whatever you're making it with and film it for a reel, and you're going to call that creating content, as if you're like doing brain surgery. Like, no, I can't deal with that. Like, am I on my phone a lot? Yes. Does it take a lot out of me? Sometimes, yes. Is it work? Yes, but I'll say again, it's fun for me. It's part of like what I would do it anyway, even if no one was watching and no one was paying me.
I love it. Okay, so we only have you for a few more minutes, but if someone wants to grow their brand, grow their social, grow their podcast, what's like the number one tip you give them?
I would say, first of all, I would say if people want to get into this industry specifically, like it's so saturated that unless you have a niche, a vibe that's different, that you know you're good at, that you know you're passionate about, that you like know more than other people, just like think about it. For so many people get into this game for the followers, for like that can't be the end game. Like there needs to be a beginning game, which is I want to do this because I love it, and I want to put out whatever it is that I want to put out there, and I want to share my style with people or whatever it is. Just don't start it to get to the point that is so hard to get to. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
So that's really my thing.
Yeah, if you're only focused, I guess, on the end goal, you're losing what it's going to take every single day, every hour, every minute to even get there, and you need to be more focused on
Jason,
what are those things you're doing.
We were talking about making money. I didn't make money for I'm doing this for 6 years. I didn't make money for 5.
Wow.
Okay, 5 years where I worked 2 other jobs, where I was like, I love to do this. It's my hobby. And if it stays my hobby, that's fine. And when I was doing all these big things recently, it kept on ringing in my, like, it just kept on coming up in my mind. And I thought it was just such a beautiful thing that I remembered me telling me something good will come out of it.
Wow.
Year
6.
I said, what'd you say?
I said year 6. That's the
year 6.
It's amazing.
So I remember saying that to myself, like when followers weren't growing, where like I didn't feel like, I'd refresh my email every day. There'd be no, how like you're just waiting for an email, like something to come in, an opportunity. And I just tell myself, keep going, something good will happen. So believe in yourself and be a little delusional.
I love that. Delusional. You said that people shouldn't focus on that end goal, focus on the day-to-day. When someone is thinking about your career track or you're thinking about your career track, what is your end goal now? You're friends with the Kardashians. You had them on the pod. Like, what's the plan for Amanda Hirsch?
So there's a big part of me that just wants to go with the flow, but it does feel kind of like silly not to have even that big dream, even though it feels like unattainable. I think that today probably would be to like have my own show,
TV
like
show.
Talk show.
Okay, like a television,
like a Chelsea Handler,
show.
like a Chelsea lately vibe.
I love it. Put it out there.
Put it out there. Dream big. It's hard to say, right? It's hard to say those big dreams because so many people would want that, right? And like TV, all those big things like sound. You feel, but know that I was saying this to myself since I was a kid, and how ridiculous I probably sounded then. Now a little bit less ridiculous, right? And every year probably, but I think that just dare to dream the big dreams, even if they're big and people look at you like you're stupid and you should just go study, business.
I love it.
Sorry, but Jason, didn't you study business?
Boring. Sure did. Not once, but then did the dumb MBA route for accounting and finance on top. Little tuple cherries that cost too much money. All right, we got to end with a trading secret. Amanda Hirsch, everyone that comes on, name of the show is Trading Secrets. Give one piece of advice, either financially, career track, something they can't learn in a textbook or classroom or Google, something that can only come from you and your experience. One trading secret. It could be anything. You could just take a shot and it could absolutely suck, but you got to take a shot. What's it going to be?
Know your worth.
Oh, I love that.
Know your worth.
Okay, can I ask you one follow-up?
Yeah.
What advice would you give someone if they feel like they don't know their worth?
Yeah, that's hard. It is hard. I've been there. I've been like, so $35,000 a year? Okay. And you're like, you look back and you're like, what? I was going to work for, at WeWork for 15 hours a day and make $30,000. I think that like I said before, when you're going for an interview or when you're starting a business, whatever it is, like, deep down that you know what you're doing, that you are skilled, that in whatever you're doing, there's a reason you're there. There's a reason that the person is interviewing you. So know that you're bringing something to the table too. Like, you don't need to take anything somebody offers you.
I love it. I love it. Jason, we just had Jason Oppenheim on, and one of the things he talked about was I'll never do a discount. I'll never do a deal. If someone's trying to negotiate like a lower agent commission, I'm not for you. I know what I'm worth, and if you don't want to hire me, go get the next guy.
I love that.
And I like it, and it's perfect with your trading secret. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for
Thank
being on
you.
Trading Secrets. Congratulations on all the success. It is
Thank
so
you.
exciting. Year 6, you got Khloe, you got Kim, you got aspirations. It's fun to watch from a distance, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you. This
coming
was so
on.
fun.
Hopefully